Hello there, it's 6 o'clock GMT here in Accra, Ghana. Welcome to the Starr Breakfast News. And coming up this morning, National Executive Council of Medical Laboratory Professionals Workers Union to meet on next line of action after NLC directs the lab professionals to call off their ongoing strike.
The decision of the National Executive Council will have engagement with our membership. But for now, we cannot say the strike is suspended. It is still ongoing until the determination of the National Executive Council.
Also coming up, Professor of History at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology describes alleged NIB survey results could be a true reflection of NPP party but won't work in a general election. And later, Education Ministry UNESCO to distribute tablets, smart boards worth $1 million to basic schools.
Tablets, other devices donated to UNESCO by Huawei, and this is going to go to 10 schools across the country. All the devices and everything together is going to cost Huawei about $1 million. So we are very grateful.
Details are coming up shortly, but first, let's remind you of our affiliate stations.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
I am Nurein Abass. Many thanks for choosing Starr News. Now, the National Executive Council of the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union will today meet on their next line of action after the National Labour Commission yesterday directed the lab professionals to call off their ongoing strike. Despite a statement from the Ministry of Health calling for a meeting, members of the union who felt disrespected by the treatment from the ministry said they will only return to work after their terms have been met. But the NLC yesterday, after a meeting, directed the workers to return to the labs. Despite expressing disappointment in the decision, General Secretary Dr. Cephas Akoto says the strike remains in force until approval is received from the Executive Council.
Very tough meeting for us at the Labour Commission. We are not very happy because our expectations are not met. But all the same, we are all Ghanaians. We will take the advice of the Commission and want to get back to our National Executive Council to communicate to them the decision of the Commission. Based on the decision of the National Executive Council, we will have engagement with our membership. But for now, we cannot say the strike is suspended. It is still ongoing until the determination of the National Executive Council. We appeal to our clients to bear with us in this difficult time. We ourselves are affected by the strike. We are not happy with what is going on, but we are compelled, looking at the difficulties on the ground, and we pray that the outcome of next meeting will favor all of us.
You heard the General Secretary of the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union, Dr. Cephas Akoto. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the African Center for Health Policy Research and Analysis, Dr. Thomas Anaba, has asked government to show commitment to solve the crisis by implementing the two issues it says can be addressed.
Government itself have accepted that two of the requests can be met. If they can be met, I don't see why they are not implementing that quickly and persuading them to have faith for them to solve the rest. The situation is that when government is lagging money, he finds ways to introduce taxes to make money. The same way workers see that the value of their income has been eroded, they also find a way of asking for allowances. And I think allowances are not only meant for the very high people who are well-to-do, who are occupying very big positions. When you are more exposed, like we were exposed during the COVID, and you saw Ministry of Health giving allowances to its staff, and doctors couldn't even get those allowances, definitely you would like to support workers for also demanding for some allowances for the risk that they undergo.
You heard the Executive Director of the African Center for Health Policy Research and Analysis, Dr. Thomas Anaba. Away from that, Professor of History and Political Science at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Samuel Edu Jemfi, has described the alleged results of the National Investigation Bureau, NIB, could be a true reflection of the NPP, but won't work in the upcoming general election. It follows a survey conducted by the National Investigation Bureau indicating that the Energy Minister, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, is widely preferred among party members to be the running mate to Dr. Bawumia, garnering 76.2% of respondents, while Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum garnered 10.16% of the responses. Professor Edu Jemfi has been speaking to Star News.
So you need an individual whose personality towers above the party and who has a certain posture to be able to attract certain masses who are not within the domain of the MPP or belong to the NDC or have their tent or camp with any political party. There is also the interesting dynamic of how there could be a telepathic relationship, that the level of telepathy between this flag bearer and the running mate. It is not, this person should be a running mate who is able to easily, and I'm not going to use the word compromise, but who is able to support and better still submit to the authority of the flag bearer within a certain dynamic which is not forced or it comes by persuasion by other voices, right? And so it is critical that at this time of the day, when you have NIB coming out with this particular percentage and all that, I can tell you on authority that the signs of it could be accurate within their own internal mechanisms. But for me, it doesn't speak necessarily to the future of the MPP itself in terms of whether they win or lose, right?
You heard Professor of History and Political Science at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Professor Samuel Edu Jemfi. This is still the Star Breakfast News. Now, sigh of relief for students in deprived and rural areas as the Ministry of Education, in collaboration with the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, has announced plans to distribute tablets, smart boards, and other digital equipment worth over $1 million to basic schools. The move forms part of the government's commitment to improving digital literacy in basic schools. You'll recall that earlier this year, government launched the Ghana Smart School project with the aim of distributing 1.3 million tablets to students in senior high schools. Addressing the media during the presentation of some ICT equipment to the Education Ministry under the technology-enabled Open Schools for All here in Accra, the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, said government will continue to invest more in digitalization and infrastructure in basic schools.
Tablets, other devices donated to UNESCO by Huawei, and this is going to go to 10 schools across the country. And the good news is that they're going to have the connectivity that they need. They're going to have the devices that they need to really use technology in the classroom. We know high schools have their tablets going to them. Junior high schools are getting this, and other organizations are coming to us supplying technological devices to our junior high schools. The exciting thing is the smart board, which enable teachers to teach the 21st century way. So we are so grateful today for Huawei, for UNESCO, and this has been spearheaded by CENDLO, Center for Distance Learning and Open Schooling, and then GES. And we are so grateful today for such a wonderful donation. All the devices and everything together is going to cost Huawei about $1 million. So we are very grateful.
You heard the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Educhum. Now, on his part, country representative of UNESCO, Edmund Mukala, said they will continue to support the government in achieving its digitalization drive in schools.
And already we have seen all the action that the government have done at all levels, from the project of one student, one height, and we have seen also in many other levels of different school programs that have been integrated. We think that this present contribution and many others will really reinforce the determination of the present government and to ensure that Ghana will be up to the level of major educational system. We want accessibility. As you remember in the speech, it was highlighted that following COVID, we wanted to make it accessible to all. And for rural areas where even the internet might be limited, we're also exploring other means, including Skylink, which will bypass all the limitations of the optical cables connectivity into satellite connectivity. That will be one of the steps. But our point is that we're leaving no one behind.
You had country representative of UNESCO, Edmond Mukala. And that brings us to the end of the Star Breakfast News this morning. When you log on to starfm.com.gh, you'll find more news updates there. I am Nurein Abass. Many thanks for your company.